The girl is severely nearsighted, with a vision of less than 0.1. She can't see the textbook at all without wearing glasses. She even mistakes the frog on her shoes for stripes. The most ridiculous thing is, if she just woke up, she would mistake the male lead beside her for her father. No way. Not long ago, the new semester started. The male lead developed a crush on the girl sitting next to him. Her name is Mia, and she's usually quite spaced out. She wears glasses with very thick lenses. And she often says things that are a bit off topic. Because of this, the male lead never knows how to start a conversation. However, something unexpected happened today. Mia wasn't wearing her glasses. The male lead was even more smitten when he saw her. That fierce look in her eyes was just too cute. Class was about to start. Mia couldn't find her textbook. The protagonist wanted to help her look for it. But whenever he got close, Mia would shyly back away. To maintain a comfortable distance, he offered to share his textbook. Unexpectedly, Mia moved closer to him. The protagonist didn't know how to react, so he could only share a desk with Mia, who was very cheerful. He couldn't focus on the lesson at all, because Mia had trouble seeing and was almost always reading the textbook up close. This made the male lead uncomfortable. He was sitting too close to her. To maintain some distance, the male lead suggested that Mia should just use the textbook. He just needed to focus on listening. Mia didn't hold back after hearing that. She directly pressed her face against the textbook and started reading. The class was still ongoing, but the male lead's mind was already elsewhere. While he was lost in his fantasies, Mia suddenly leaned over, because the male lead had helped her, but she didn't know who he was. After learning the male lead's name was Komura, Mia thanked him again. But the sudden closeness just now made the male lead so shy that he couldn't concentrate in class for the rest of the period. Soon, it was time to leave school. The male lead went to the shoe locker as usual, and by chance, he saw Mia seems to be really troubled. He stepped forward to greet him, but to his surprise, the other person didn't recognize him at all. The male lead was stunned. He introduced himself as the guy from the next table, Komura. At that moment, the male lead noticed that Mia's shoes looked familiar. They were exactly the same as his own pair. Then he looked up and saw that his shoe cabinet was open. It really is my own. Just a few minutes ago, Mia let a few classmates safely participate in club activities. And even without her glasses, she could get home safely. But before she even left the school gate, she couldn't find her locker. After searching for a bit, she found a pair of shoes just like hers. Only after putting them on did she realize they didn't fit. After clearing up the misunderstanding, Mia took off her shoes and gave them to the male lead. However, she was very puzzled by her own shoes. Why were the shoes in her locker different? There were some strange green stripes on them. The male lead was dumbfounded after taking a look. There was actually a frog prince perched on Mia's shoes. After releasing the frog, both of them put on their own shoes. Before leaving, the male lead noticed that Mia's shoelace had come undone, because she couldn't see it clearly. It was his turn to help again. Throughout the day, the male lead was almost always with Mia, helping her solve many difficulties. Mia said she would definitely repay this kindness, and in order to remember the male lead's face, she leaned in closer to take a better look. But with such ridiculous eyesight, she still couldn't see his face clearly, so she decided to try again next time. On the way back, the male lead discovered that the Mia family lived very close to the school. No wonder she could get there easily without wearing glasses. That day, the male lead was very happy. He was really hoping Mia would forget her glasses again. And the next morning, his wish came true. Due to Mia's carelessness, she stepped on and broke her glasses. The male protagonist felt a little guilty. He must have caused it with his wish last night. Soon, it was time for PE class. This lesson was volleyball practice. To everyone's surprise, Mia, who isn't wearing glasses, actually took the court. The male lead was a bit worried. It's too dangerous if you can't even see the ball clearly. At that moment, the male lead remembered the wish from last night. The reason Mia isn't wearing glasses is because of him. So no matter what, he had to take responsibility. After gym class, it was the last physics class of the afternoon. The male lead is so tired. Then he turns around and looks. Mia is actually seriously reading a textbook. He plans to learn from Mia. But the next second, he gets slapped in the face by the teacher. The male lead thinks Mia was misunderstood. He tries to warn her, but when he gets closer, Mia is actually sleeping. At this rate, Mia will definitely be scolded by the teacher. Seeing this, the male lead acted decisively. He explained to the teacher that Mia had forgotten her glasses. This posture was so she could see the words in the textbook better. She wasn't sleeping at all. The teacher took a closer look, didn't think much of it, and let Mia off. After sleeping for a while longer, Mia woke up. She first looked for her glasses on the table, but found none. She then turned to the male lead and called out Dad, asking if he'd seen her glasses. The male lead was immediately confused, and quickly denied, "I'm not your dad." But with that said, Mia unexpectedly leaned in to take a closer look. The male lead just lost it. Not only could Mia not see clearly, but she also fell asleep. He wanted to keep explaining, but Mia didn't give him the chance. The male lead tried to remind her, but Mia just fell asleep. At that moment, the male lead was very happy. He wished time would just stop, but before he could even be happy for 2.5 seconds, the teacher directly woke up Mia. Soon another day passed, and Mia actually forgot to wear her glasses again. The male protagonist had already gotten used to it. But unexpectedly, the next second, Mia actually got even closer to his face. She actually got close to his face again. The male lead instantly blushed. But he wasn't worried at all. After all, Mia could never see his face clearly. But it seemed like an accident happened today. Ever since Komura made a wish on a star hoping that Mia would forget to wear her glasses again, Mia seemed cursed to always forget them. It happened to be Mia's turn to serve food that day. She couldn't seem to get the right amount in one scoop. Komura offered to switch duties with her, but she confidently insisted she was fine. Komura could only suggest she serve a little less. The next student ended up receiving only one potato. Komura and the student were speechless. Mia, however, seemed oblivious to the seriousness of the issue. Instead, she became hungry first from continuously serving others. At this point, a little chubby boy asked her to give him more meat. Mia awkwardly declined him. This left Komura a bit confused. Then Mia suggested she could give him more potatoes. Unexpectedly, the little chubby boy agreed to this. However, what she served him was a full bowl of meat. It turned out she had mistaken chicken for potatoes. After all, both seemed the same to her. Right after their work ended, Mia served a well-prepared lunch for Komura. She even mentioned that she had added extra meat for him, as a token of thanks for his help last time. Although she still mistook the potato for chicken, Komura was still very happy. The next day, Mia once again forgot to wear her glasses to school. Komura had long since gotten used to it, but she had prepared for this in advance. Saying that, she took out a box of contact lenses. Although it had always been kept in her bag, Mia never liked wearing them. It was because they kept sliding around in her eyes. And when she had to take them off, it was always a struggle. Watching Mia struggle so much to wear her glasses, Komura also told her not to push herself. After saying that, Mia left her seat. But Komura was still lost in his happiness, unable to pull himself out. But what made him happy was far from just this. After that, Mia took the initiative to seek him out and befriend him, mainly because she wanted someone to help her when she forgets to wear her glasses. Komura was a little overwhelmed by the attention. Isn't it better to talk to family about this? But Mia thinks forgetting to wear her glasses is just too embarrassing, so she feels too shy to say it. Not long after, Mia arranged to meet Komura at the station. He was so scared that he fell straight out of bed. After gathering his thoughts, he went to the station. He quickly spotted Mia in the distance, and she had forgotten to wear her glasses again, so Komura quickly went up to ask. It turned out Mia had accidentally fallen asleep on the bus and only realized she left her glasses after rushing off. But there was somewhere she absolutely had to go, so she asked Komura to guide her. At this moment, Komura realized the two of them were strolling around together during the holidays. Isn't this a date? Without saying a word, he agreed right away. So, Komura took her hand and led her forward. They quickly arrived at their destination. It turned out she wanted to go to a dessert shop. They had limited edition small cakes every Saturday. However, without her glasses, she couldn't find the right target. She tried several times but failed each time. Seeing Mia's sad expression, Komura blurted out that he could feed her. Komura was stunned by the scene. Although he didn't know if he should feed her, he definitely couldn't let this situation continue. After finishing the cake, the two of them went to the next place. It was her regular optician's store. Because her prescription had gotten stronger, she got a new pair. And today was the day they had agreed to pick them up. After putting on her glasses, she finally saw everything clearly. After hearing this, Komura couldn't help but think it sounded a bit childish. Then, he looked at the hand he had held with Mia. Next, Komura said goodbye to Mia. But unexpectedly, Mia once again grabbed his hand. She said she wanted to stay with him a little longer. After all, it was rare that she had finally seen Komura's face clearly. Komura couldn't help but blush after hearing this. Afterwards, they went to the arcade together and won some plushies. Then they went shopping. They played until dusk before deciding to part ways. The whole day's activities left Komura feeling a little dazed. He pinched his cheek to make sure he wasn't dreaming. But Mia wasn't overthinking it. She felt that Komura had sacrificed his time to accompany her and wasn't sure how to thank him. But the new glasses allowed her to see clearly. She even felt twice as happy. On Monday, Komura arrived at school. She found that Mia hadn't forgotten her glasses, but it seemed like she had a cold. After asking her in detail, this was confirmed. Fortunately, Mia said it wasn't serious. A closer look revealed that her glasses had fogged up. But this doesn't affect Mia's cute appearance. At this moment, a classmate called Komura away. Mia was also drawn to the laughter nearby. It turns out that the glasses of the chubby boy fogged up from wearing the face shield. The classmates mocked him, saying he looked like a suspicious person. Upon hearing this, Mia instinctively looked at Komura. She was afraid he would also laugh at her for looking like a suspicious person. So, before Komura returned, she took off her glasses. This is definitely the most unusual cat video I've ever seen. The female lead, being severely myopic, often confuses things right in front of her. This time, she actually mistook a plastic bag for a kitten. And this scene just happened to be noticed by the male lead passing by. Seeing the girl he secretly admires in such a cute way, he instinctively took out his phone to capture it. But after seeing that the kitten was actually a plastic bag, he immediately realized that she had forgotten to wear her glasses again after triple checking. But now it's the after-school rush hour. When she realizes her mistake, she'll definitely feel embarrassed. To spare Mia from embarrassment, Komura had no choice but to respond by mimicking a cat's meow. Suddenly, she realized something felt off. Upon closer inspection, she realized it was Komura. And Komura, blushing from her touch, was clearly embarrassed. The next day, when he arrived at school, he saw Mia, who had forgotten her glasses, in trouble. And the school hunk was helping her. Komura instantly felt a sense of foreboding. As the school hunk helped her find a book, he even put his hand on Mia's. He even leaned in closer. Seeing this, Komura was overwhelmed with jealousy. Unable to hold back, he turned around. It turned out that because she wasn't wearing her glasses, she mistook the school heartthrob with short hair for Komura. After the school heartthrob explained, Mia immediately became shy. On the way to school in April, the two classmates bumped into Mia again, who had forgotten her glasses. They really couldn't understand why Mia always forgot. It's easy to leave wrinkles between the eyebrows like this. After coming to school, Mia also started to worry. To prevent wrinkles from appearing, she decided not to frown anymore. So, when Komura greeted her, he was instantly captivated by her glance. The scene at that moment seemed frozen. Komura's heart could not calm down for a long time. That glance kept lingering in Komura's mind. It made his face flush and his heart race all day. Even when he thought about the scene from this morning, he couldn't fall asleep peacefully. After spending the night like this, he finally saw Mia wearing glasses. And Mia, in order to win against her best friend in the word chain game, took the initiative to ask Komura to practice with her. But Komura saw it as a good opportunity to have a three-way conversation. They quickly completed a round of practice. However, Mia thought the difficulty was too low, believing that Komura was deliberately going easy on her. After thinking for a moment, Komura suggested shortening the response time. As a result, he suffered another barrage of criticism. The next day after school, it was their turn to do cleaning duty. Just as Komura was immersed in joy, a cockroach crawled up the wall next to Mia. It was getting closer and closer to Mia. Komura fell into a panic. Although Mia couldn't see clearly right now, he couldn't directly tell her that the cockroach was approaching, so he decided to act as if he didn't know. He called Mia over to his side. Mia approached Komura with confusion. She was so close that there was no sense of distance. So close, in fact, that Komura froze in place. The next morning, it started to rain heavily. When Komura arrived at the classroom, he was stunned. This was because Mia had forgotten she had put her glasses on top of her head. So, with Komura's reminder, she accidentally dropped her glasses on the floor. Thankfully, the lenses weren't broken. But Komura likes Mia like this. However, Mia then closed her eyes. Komura mistakenly thought she was waiting for a kiss. He immediately dismissed the idea. After composing himself, he realized Mia wanted him to help her put on her glasses. Blushing, he slowly moved his hand closer to Mia. Finally, the moment he touched the triple chin, Komura couldn't hold back his shyness and exploded. Mia found a letter in the hallway. Just as she was trying to make out the words on it, Komura walked over and called out to her. She asked Komura to check who the sender was. After all, compared to her half-blind self, Komura's eyes were much better. But Komura hesitated after taking the letter. After all, it's wrong to read someone else's mail. But in order to know who the sender was, he had no choice but to open it. However, the name on the cover made everything clear to him. It turned out that this was a letter sent to the school heartthrob. And the red heart sticker on it indicated that it was a love letter. Unfortunately, the sender's name was not written on the cover. Upon learning that the letter was for the school heartthrob, Mia decided to hand it to him in person. Komura realized something was wrong and chased after her, but it was too late. The surrounding classmates saw this and began discussing it. Komura could only silently return to his seat. Only Mia was clueless about what was going on around her. At this moment, the classmates started asking her if she liked the school heartthrob. Komura was anxiously watching from the side, but couldn't do much. Meanwhile, Mia said she only liked him to an average extent. Her vague answer drew the attention of the entire class again. Knowing the truth, Komura eagerly hoped she would explain, but she remained unmoved. After seeing the school heartthrob leave with a letter, Komura ran out to investigate. He hid around the corner, peeking at the school heartthrob's reaction. He hoped he could tell from the letter's signature that it wasn't from Mia. At this moment, Komura was filled with jealousy. However, the school heartthrob's only reaction was a smile. Seeing this, Komura became even more confused. He started to worry that maybe the letter wasn't signed. Meanwhile, back in the classroom, the classmates all assumed Mia liked the school heartthrob. After the other students left, Komura started to worry about what she would do if it were true. After all, the campus heartthrob was a legendary perfect man. He was just a coward who didn't even dare to express his feelings. However, the heartthrob saw all of this. Komura hurriedly responded that he was fine, but his trembling body betrayed him inner fear. So he carefully asked about Mia's true feelings. Mia repeated what she had said before. She only liked the school idol a little, but this answer still puzzled Komura. Just then, the school idol called out to Mia. He handed her his written reply. Seeing this, Komura nearly had a meltdown. He was afraid his suspicions were becoming reality. Mia took the piece of paper, bewildered. However, she couldn't make out what was written on it at all. She had no choice but to ask Komura to read it for her. Komura stood there dumbfounded, as if struck by a bolt from the blue. This was truly the kind of situation that kills both the body and the spirit. Even the school heartthrob was asking him to read it out loud. Komura was left completely confused by his actions. If he agreed, no, even if he refused, he'd still transform into a demon. So he closed his eyes tightly and opened the paper. After gathering enough courage, he slowly opened his eyes. Komura also likes Mia. This was an outcome he hadn't expected. The school heartthrob just smiled and walked back to his seat. The misunderstanding was finally cleared up, and that letter was just a thank you note. At this point, Mia asked again what it said. Komura's face instantly turned red with embarrassment. Everyone was waiting for him to speak. This couple is just too sweet. It all started when the male lead spotted a heart-shaped cloud during class. Unfortunately, the female lead forgot her glasses and couldn't see it clearly. To win her heart, he took a risk and snapped a photo with his phone. Later that night, he sent the photo to the female lead. Mia was clearly very happy after seeing her, but Komura was extremely worried. He was afraid he had overstepped. This led him to oversleep the next day. In order not to be late, he started running frantically. What he didn't expect was to run into Mia in this situation. She was also rushing to school, so Komura decided to catch up and say hello. It seems Mia didn't recognize him. Being in a hurry and having forgotten her glasses, Mia couldn't see the face of the person in front of her clearly. While they were waiting at a red light, Komura noticed that not only was her hair messy, but the hem of her skirt had also somehow become rolled up. He quickly reminded Mia to adjust her skirt. I didn't expect Mia to care so much about Komura's attention. This made Komura so happy that he stopped in his tracks. In the end, he still inevitably arrived late. After school that day, Komura was shivering from the cold wind. Just then, he saw a vending machine ahead. As he was about to buy a hot coffee to warm himself, he unexpectedly ran into Mia. So she also came here for a hot drink because she couldn't stand the cold. Komura saw that she wasn't wearing her glasses and worried if she could tell the drinks apart. Unexpectedly, Mia confidently pressed the button, but after taking a sip, she realized she'd bought the wrong one. It turned out she'd gotten the same black coffee his teacher did. To avoid wasting the drink, she asked if Komura could drink it. At the crucial moment, Komura chickened out. He could only lie to Mia, saying he didn't like black coffee. The next day during PE class, Komura helped the injured Mia to the infirmary. It turned out she had accidentally fallen while warming up. She not only scraped her knee but also broke her glasses. The school heartthrob found out and immediately arranged for Komura to escort her. This time, I can say it was zero distance contact. Komura felt quite shy because of this. However, Mia was concerned about her weight. She said she'd gained weight recently. She told Komura he could rest if he felt tired. Komura was completely charmed by her cuteness. He immediately made a vow in his heart. Afterwards, the two of them went to the infirmary. Komura offered to help her move the chair. She asked Sanchong to find a place to lean for a while, but she didn't notice and directly stood on the scale. While Komura was giving her a hint, she accidentally saw the number on the scale. Mia blushed when she realized. That afternoon, the teacher asked Mia to put up the announcement, but she couldn't reach the highest magnet. Helpless, she had to ask Komura for help. Komura naturally agreed without hesitation, but he overestimated his height. As a result, it led to an extremely awkward situation. Just then, the campus heartthrob walked over. He offered to help the two of them, and he easily completed the task. This only made Komura feel even more embarrassed. If only he were a little taller, this wouldn't have been so awkward. But Mia didn't agree after hearing about it, because she didn't want Komura to grow too tall. Komura couldn't help but ask her why. After a few more classes, Komura found Mia crying alone at her desk. He was very curious about what had happened while he was gone. Unexpectedly, Mia told him directly. It turned out that while discussing the scope of the exam with her best friend, because she wasn't wearing her glasses, she mistook a whole line of text for the same word. After reading it out loud, her best friend couldn't stop laughing. Even she couldn't help but laugh along. When she snapped back to reality, Komura suddenly realized. He had never seen Mia laugh so heartily, let alone seen her laugh so hard that she cried. Instantly, his curiosity surged wildly. He even fantasized about the way she looked when she laughed and cried. Komura increasingly regretted going out earlier, so he decided to ask his classmates later if they had seen it. A little over 10 minutes ago, Mia accidentally lost her glasses. Just as Komura was about to look for them with her, a female classmate called out to him directly. Komura didn't think much of it and walked over. As a result, she immediately took out a pair of glasses. It was the pair of glasses that Mia lost. She wanted to have Komura give the glasses to Mia. After saying that, she put the glasses on Komura's eyes. Komura immediately felt dizzy from the high-powered lenses. In his unsteady state, he accidentally pushed the girl against the wall. And this scene just happened to be seen by Mia. At first, she didn't recognize who the two were, until the girl called out Komura's name. Mia finally realized something was wrong. Without hesitation, she pushed Komura away. After this incident, Mia never forgot to wear his glasses again. Komura temporarily lost his duties as a guide dog. At this moment, he felt a bit lonely, but as long as Mia had no more worries, he felt it was worth it. And being this close is bad for his heart. Just as he was glad to finally get some rest, he realized he'd forgotten his textbook, so he had to ask Mia for help. Unexpectedly, Mia seemed rather eager, and she moved her desk closer. She considered it payback for Komura's help earlier. Just then, she noticed. It turns out that the distance between the two of them was so close when they were at the table earlier. As soon as she finished speaking, Komura became shy. On a day off not long after, Mia invited Komura to accompany her to an optical store. Because of the experience of losing her glasses last time, she planned to buy a new spare pair. She also wanted to try on different styles of glasses. But since the glasses she tried on didn't have any prescription, she doesn't know whether they look good on her or not. And since her parents couldn't make it, she asked Komura to help her choose. So Mia started trying them on, one by one. He immediately regretted saying that. No matter how many pairs Mia tried on, Komura couldn't give her any useful feedback. He even started hoping she'd pick out a pair that didn't suit her. In order to offer useful advice to Mia, Komura started a brainstorming session. However, his expression and actions made Mia mistakenly think he wasn't feeling well. After confirming he wasn't sick, Komura decided to be honest with her. After Mia understood his concerns, she immediately put on a pair of glasses. It was the same style she had always used. Komura finally realized this. It turns out the best is always the first edition. But when he arrived at school the next day, Mia sadly told him. Just a few days ago, Komura discovered that chocolates were being sold everywhere on the street. Only then did he realize that Valentine's Day was approaching. He couldn't help but imagine what Mia would look like when giving him chocolate. As a result, he instinctively spoke the thoughts in his mind. Unfortunately, Mia, who was passing by, overheard. This startled Komura. But soon, Komura's attention was drawn to Mia, who was wearing casual clothes. However, she had still forgotten to wear her glasses. At this point, Mia asked Komura what he would like her to give him, although she didn't hear clearly what the gift was, but it still made Komura blush bright red. He then noticed the Valentine's Day decorations around them. He was afraid Mia would connect the gift to chocolate because of it. Fortunately, her vision was blurry at the moment. She couldn't see anything clearly except for things that were particularly red, let alone connected to Valentine's Day. Seeing this, Komura finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then, Mia followed him to the supermarket. He didn't expect Mia was also here to help buy things for the family. At this moment, Komura felt like a couple shopping at the supermarket. No. Suddenly, Mia asked what he had picked up earlier. When Komura saw that it was chocolate, he felt a pang in his heart. Just as he was thinking about how to explain it, the store clerk next to them was holding a tasting event. Mia was also attracted by the smell of chocolate. No matter how much Komura tried to distract her, it didn't work. Just as the clerk was about to say the words Valentine's Day, Komura quickly yelled to interrupt her. After Kanzaki grabbed a box of chocolates, Komura pulled Mia away from the area. But before he got far, he realized he was holding Mia's hand. Mia said having cold hands had its advantages, like not melting chocolate easily when making it. After all, Valentine's Day is coming soon. Hearing this, Komura was completely dumbfounded. It turned out that Mia had known for days that Valentine's Day was approaching. She just hadn't connected Komura's words with the upcoming Valentine's Day. Now she realized Komura wanted her to give chocolate. At this moment, Komura was terrified. He kept praying that Mia wouldn't reject him. However, what Mia cared about was that she also liked chocolate. Komura was a bit confused. Mia said that she had originally planned to give chocolate to all her friends, so of course, Komura wouldn't be left out. She just hadn't decided what kind to give yet. Soon, Valentine's Day arrived. Komura arrived at school with an excited heart. He calmly waited for the arrival of his choco. Although Mia found the right person to give her chocolate to, when she received the reciprocal gift, she had no idea who it was from. Soon it was Komura's turn. However, something unexpected happened. Although Komura was disappointed, there was nothing he could do. He just wondered if he would receive Hanmei Choco next year. Suddenly, he thought of a solution. As long as he succeeds with the triple test this year, he will definitely receive a handmade chocolate next year. But he knew that with his current self, it was impossible to achieve. At this moment, Mia found him again. She asked if he was free after school. So, after all the classmates went home, Mia said she wanted to make it up to Komura. Unfortunately, she couldn't think of what to compensate with until after school, so she asked Komura to stay after school, because she decided to fulfill one of Komura's wishes. Any wish could be made. Komura immediately looked around. After realizing no one was around, she spoke out her true wish, and that led to the scene at the beginning. In the end, Komura chickened out and sat back down. As a result, Nya misunderstood what he wanted to say. She wanted to say something embarrassing, like needing to go to the restroom. Komura immediately denied it, and said she'd wait until she could see himself clearly. Komura quickly corrected herself and said she'd wait until he was ready. 1 month later. This day is called Self-Love Valentine's Day. Komura had already bought a gift early, ready to give it to Mia. However, when Mia arrived at school, Komura noticed that she seemed completely out of energy. It turned out she had decided to control her diet, and didn't even dare to drink her morning hot cocoa. This was incredibly painful for her, as she loved snacks so much. She had received too many return gifts for Valentine's Day. She couldn't resist and ate everything at once. As a result, she was devastated when she weighed herself last night. That's why she decided to stop eating snacks for now. To reach her target weight, she still needs Komura's help. All he needs to do is stop her before she starts eating snacks. Komura happily accepted the task, but the gift he prepared couldn't be given anymore. Little did she know, this was when the campus heartthrob arrived next to Mia. He handed her a bag of cookies directly. It was meant as a return gift for Valentine's Day. After smelling the fragrance, Mia almost couldn't resist. "You're so cunning, Dawn." Just when Mia was about to use lozenges to divert attention, she accidentally took out the cookies. Realizing what she had done, Mia blamed it on not wearing her glasses. After safely getting through a class, Mia had already reached her breaking point. Komura had been watching all of this, sticking to the principle that once a task is accepted, it must be done. He had to stop Mia from eating the cookie. After managing to stop Mia, Chubby Guy also came to return the favor, although she said it wasn't necessary. But the nervous look on his face was clearly intentional. However, he couldn't go against the agreement with Mia. Now, he had to be resolute. So, Komura suggested that he take charge of the snacks. Upon hearing this, Mia panicked. She immediately grabbed the snacks and turned her back to Komura. No matter how Komura reminded her, she wouldn't listen. She made the excuse that not eating the reciprocal gift would be disrespectful. After saying that, she started stuffing the cookies into her mouth. Komura lost it when she saw her eating the heartthrob's reciprocal gift. He immediately snapped. Mia accepted Komura's cake. Only then did she realize that today was White Day. Even though Mia accepted his gift, Komura still felt it was better not to eat it. He even wanted to take back the cake in her hand. The girl's eyesight was so bad she was nearly blind. She refused to wear glasses, holding on to her stubbornness until the end. The male lead noticed early in the morning that Mia was in a good mood. She had finally accumulated enough activity points. She could get a free sample of the original pastry. But tomorrow was the deadline, so it had to be sent out today. The recent mailbox is at the post office to the left after you leave the school, but Mia hasn't really been there. The male lead is worried she might get lost since she forgot to wear her glasses again. He agrees to accompany her. After all, he's got nothing else to do. Mia happily says, "Then I'll leave it to you." Unexpectedly, the male lead's friends invite him to go to the arcade. The male lead is happy for 2.5 seconds before remembering he still has something to do today, so she tells the male lead that she's fine on her own. He can go home directly after school. To reassure him, Mia lies again, saying that she's actually wearing contact lenses. The male lead doesn't understand why she's doing this. In class, Mia is called on to read the text aloud, but she stops halfway through reading. He knew the next character had too many strokes. It would just look like a blur to Mia. The next class would be in a different room. Mia stared intently at the blackboard, trying to see clearly. Her classmate invited her to go to the classroom together, but Mia was worried he would notice she wasn't wearing her glasses, so she insisted on going alone. His friends suddenly told him, the new arcade has the fishing game he loves. He's happy but worried about Mia. Is what she scheduled for today that important? He looks towards multipurpose room 2 on the blackboard, but Mia had misread it as room 1. Mia looks at the empty room. She realizes she misread it. Being alone is really inconvenient, she thinks. But she didn't want him to miss out on hanging out with his friends because of me. Even though being alone is inconvenient and lonely. Unexpectedly, Komura suddenly appeared in front of Mia. To avoid making things even more awkward, he pretended that he had also gone to the wrong classroom. He deliberately reminded her that class was in the second classroom. At this point, Mia continued to insist that she hadn't made a mistake. It's not that it's unclear. Seeing that the male lead still believes what he said. Finally, Mia is willing to tell the truth. She didn't want the male lead to be held back by her. She didn't want him to miss out on having fun with the other classmates. That's why she hoped he wouldn't worry about her and could enjoy himself. The male lead is surprised, so that's how it is. He didn't expect Mia to do something like this for him. Although she hopes the male lead can let go of her and have fun, she is also very happy that he can stay by her side. She's so happy that she wants to keep him all to herself. In the end, the male lead still hopes to protect her. The male lead feels that he might be the same as Mia, and also wants to have her all to himself. Since meeting Mia, the male lead has realized how quickly a year has passed. They say that's what all old people think. His back has also been aching lately, but none of that matters, because this year, he's in the same class as Mia. At the opening ceremony, the teacher handed out last year's perfect attendance awards. The classmates who didn't know Mia were puzzled. She seemed to be angry just because she wasn't wearing her glasses again today. He's worried that if Mia goes on stage like this, she'll give the whole school the wrong impression. Mia says she's nervous being watched by so many people. To soften her expression, he decides to help her relax. There's a pressure point on the palm that can relieve tension. Unable to see, Mia leans in close, which, in turn, makes him nervous. Mia hoped he could help her out by pressing it. The male lead's heart kept racing. What's meant to come will always come, and it's double the happiness. The two of them acted as if no one was around. They were showing off their affection in front of the whole school. Mia noticed that the male lead seemed even more nervous than she was. Just in time, she had a good way to relieve the tension. As long as you think about happy things, your mood will calm down. Time will also pass quickly. The male lead thinks he might have overreacted. Even though he thought Mia was scary at first, everyone would soon realize how beautiful and radiant Mia is. When it's his turn to go on stage, he starts to feel nervous. He follows Mia's advice and thinks about happy things. He didn't want to know, but once he thought about it, he was startled. He realized that all the happy memories from the past year were related to Mia. Only now did he understand why time seemed to pass so quickly last year. Ever since he thought those eyes were beautiful, he had been thinking about Mia all the time. The new school year meant a new seating arrangement through a draw. He was very concerned about who would sit next to Mia. If Mia weren't wearing glasses, it would be great if the person sitting next to her is willing to help. If it's a girl sitting nearby, it should be easier to communicate. As for the male lead, he'll probably continue sitting in the back row by the window this year, as usual. But Mia is seated far from him. What's worse is that the class heartthrob, Dedong, is sitting next to Mia. The male lead tries to comfort himself. If it's Dedong, he will definitely take good care of Mia. His preferences don't matter at all. Unexpectedly, Mia starts looking for the male lead's position. Dedong points out that the male lead is in the same spot as last year. At this moment, the male lead doesn't know what expression to make in response. A girl mistakenly reads the seating order and says Mia is sitting in her spot. Dedong leans in to check and confirms it's not the wrong seat. Mia is indeed sitting here, and the male lead gets angry. How can he so casually touch Mia's hand? He also really wants to sit next to Mia. At this moment, Mia suddenly turns to look at the male lead. The male lead shyly covers his face, unable to make eye contact with her. Although he has fantasized about continuing to sit next to Mia, he is already very happy just like this, in the current situation. But he also worries about when Mia might turn around again. If she looks around during class, the teacher will definitely scold her. The girl sitting next to the male lead suddenly finds Mia. Because she had bad eyesight, she was hoping to switch seats with Mia. Mia was more than happy to agree. He was ecstatic. He could sit with Mia again. He didn't understand. Her eyesight isn't good either. Why would she agree? She explained that it's hard to get caught dozing off in the back row, and if she kept looking back during class, she'd definitely get caught. The male protagonist was like being struck by lightning. Is she implying that it's because I'm sitting in the back? In art class, the male lead and Mia need to draw portraits of each other. Mia forgot to bring her reference, so she has to get close to the male lead to observe him. But in this case, he can't really draw. Mia finds herself in a dilemma. She hopes to capture his image from memory and draw it on paper. The male protagonist couldn't contain his excitement after seeing the finished product. He immediately decided to decorate it on the headboard. This has to be submitted. Early in the morning, Mia ran into Yangu, who was bathed in sunlight. She forgot to bring her glasses, so she had to get close to confirm Yangu's identity. Yangu noticed that her eyelashes were so long. Her skin was also so smooth. Mia was embarrassed and asked her not to get too close. But it's not impossible. When the male lead enters the classroom, Mia instinctively approaches him, but as soon as she remembers what happened before, she immediately blushes and keeps her distance. The male lead is confused. Shy Mia is so cute. After school, the male lead hurries home in a panic. That's because he brought Mia back to his house. To be precise, it's Mia's true form. Half an hour ago, the male lead found Mia's glasses on the table, but her backpack was already gone. He was torn between leaving it alone or putting it in her desk drawer. He worried that touching it might make her angry. He remembered he had her contact information and texted her to remind her that her glasses were still in the classroom. She then remembered that she had brought her glasses to school. She told him to just leave it. The male lead can't turn a blind eye. Tomorrow is the weekend. It would be bad if something happened and it got damaged. So he suggested that he could take it home and keep it for 2 days. After getting Mia's consent, the male lead immediately took the object home. At this moment, he was excited and perverted inside. He also looked guilty when greeted by his family. He hopes his mother won't enter the self-contained room next. Then, the male protagonist places the glasses on the cabinet, but his mind won't cooperate. He keeps feeling like Mia is watching him from behind. Helpless, the male protagonist pulls out a tissue to reward himself. He plans to change the direction of the glasses, but the little pervert in his mind urges him to try wearing it. Midway, the male protagonist regains his rationality. I absolutely can't let myself dirty the glasses of Mia. In the middle of the night, he wiped the dust and fingerprints off her spare glasses. Then she suddenly remembered the glasses she is keeping for the male lead. She wonders if they also have fingerprints or something on them. Mia blushes, worried the male lead will notice. However, at this moment, the male lead is already sweating from wiping his glasses. He forces himself to calm down. Although, these are indeed things belonging to Mia, but it's just a pair of glasses. There's no need to care about it at all. He completely lost his composure as soon as he got the call from Mia. Mia first thanked him for taking care of her glasses, then she shyly asked if they were dirty. Although she figured he probably wouldn't have looked at them that closely, little did she know, he's a bit of a pervert. Not only did he look closely, but he also cleaned them thoroughly. She can't help but feel like she has gone to the male lead's house, just by thinking of the glasses being there. It gives her the feeling that she is actually at his house. Mia's words make it even harder for the male lead to calm down. Now, no matter how he looks, he keeps seeing Mia's shadow. Mia notices that the male lead is sleeping at his desk. So, like a curious little child, she observes him carefully. She explains that today, she surprisingly didn't forget to wear her glasses, so she wanted to take a good look at the male lead's appearance. She felt embarrassed after being caught and apologized to the male lead. At this point, she told him that he could observe her too. The male lead was hesitant, saying there was no need for that. That day, Mia still wasn't wearing her glasses. Out of habit, she had recently been getting unreasonably close to others. This time, she leaned forward too much. Mia lost her balance and fell onto the male lead. Mia apologized and, once again, gave him a freebie. She got too close once before, and bumped her head against someone else's. Another time, she got too close and even kissed him. He was completely stunned, until Mia explained that she had kissed her father. He was worried Mia would notice his panic, because his feelings for her were already so obvious. Mia went on to add that it was all when she was little. It never happened again after that, so never think of her as the bad girl. The male lead, by accident, was just as flustered as she was, but he felt that people's panic is different from one another. A friend reminded Mia that her hair was sticking up. She wasn't wearing her glasses, so she couldn't see clearly. She had to go to the bathroom and check in the big mirror, but class was about to start. Her friend comforted her, saying she was still cute, but Mia didn't believe it. The male lead understood, saying that even though that might be true, if she couldn't see it herself, no matter how much others told her she was cute, she still wouldn't be able to feel at ease. Mia suddenly asked the male lead if her hair looked strange. He told her it wasn't strange at all. Mia was finally relieved. That day, Mia saw the male lead constantly rubbing his shoulder. She proudly recalled being praised by her father for her massage skills. The male lead reacted strongly, afraid of any physical contact with her. Mia thought he didn't believe her, so she brought up how her mother had also praised her technique. Little did she know, the male lead was only worried about what exaggerated reaction he might have the moment Mia touched his shoulder. Mia is really good at giving massages. Ultimately, the male lead couldn't resist Mia's allure and succumbed. He could only force himself to clear his mind. He had to admit Mia's massage technique was indeed excellent. Mia happily declared she could even give a massage with her eyes closed. Then, she made a note in her notebook. She explained that she was writing down everything she could do for him without her glasses. After all, he had always been the one helping her. He was too shy to look Mia directly in the eye, but he hoped she would stay by his side. The girl suddenly told him to turn around. She was about to take off her worn stockings. Mia wasn't wearing her glasses again today. She accidentally stepped into a puddle, so she would be barefoot for the rest of the day. He couldn't stand the sight of her bare feet. He dared not turn around to look at her. That day, the male lead saw Mia alone in the park. It wasn't long before Mia noticed him. It turned out she had forgotten to bring her house key. She had no choice but to wait for her mom to come back. Since he was already there, Mia wanted him to push her on the swing. The male lead was extremely nervous inside. What if his father-in-law found out he did something like this before marriage? Would he get beaten to death? That being said, the male lead still doesn't want to miss the opportunity for physical contact. But as he pushed, he realized that from the front, he might be able to see under her skirt. When he opened his eyes, he found that Mia had just looked up at him. They sweetly gazed at each other for 2.5 seconds. In the end, the male lead shyly backed down. Unexpectedly, Mia figured out what he was thinking and said that she was wearing safety shorts. During the break, the male lead dropped a green card. Mia helped pick it up, curious about what it was. It was a recharge card for the ballcoin he bought. The male lead was worried that people might misunderstand him as a big spender. He even said that if he didn't improve, he was doomed, because he only earns 1,000 yen a month. Luckily, Mia doesn't wear glasses or doesn't understand games, so she can't read it. The male lead lies and says it's an Apple gift card. He apologizes because he doesn't want Mia to fall into the bottomless pit of mobile games. He can only lie to her, because he said he likes it. Mia believes him, so she gives him the apple from her lunch. He thinks it's great, so he offered Mia my apple. He wanted her to have some because she liked it. In the middle of the night, he was awakened by a sudden phone call. It was Mia's voice. She was asking where the bathroom was in Asuka's house. After hearing his response, she realized she had dialed the wrong number. But the call had completely woken him up. He's willing to help Mia with anything he needs. Mia explains that she's staying at Asuka's house tonight. She needed to use the bathroom but couldn't find his glasses, so she couldn't see in the dark hallway. She was scared, so she just froze. Since she was already halfway there, rather than go back and wet the bed, she might as well figure out how to finish the journey. The protagonist asks if there's a light switch nearby. Unexpectedly, the 3 layers of her clothes got caught on the ribbon. Mia wants the male lead to sing to her for courage. She originally thought it was just an overnight gathering, but she ended up trapped in a horror movie hell. She clearly said she was scared, but Asuka, that idiot, still forced her to watch until the end. The simping male lead envies her. He also wants to be called an idiot. Seeing this, he sang their school song for her, and successfully calmed Mia's fear. At this moment, there was a noise outside. He didn't dare to speak, worried about being discovered. Seeing no reaction from him, Mia once again fell into panic and unease. Then she remembered his phone had a flashlight. Mia finally reached the bathroom safely. Seeing that Mia hadn't hung up yet, the male lead thought he was going to hear the whole conversation. But Mia said she was going to mute her phone. But before muting it, Mia softly called the male lead's name. During swimming class, Mia forgot his glasses again. The male lead worried if he could even get in the water without them. But how does someone who wears glasses even swim? He had never thought about this issue before. It was only later that he realized that Mia had brought swimming goggles with prescription lenses. Unexpectedly, the young guy next to him reminded him. Although he understood the main character's feelings, he couldn't just stare at the girl like that. The main character really wanted to explain that it wasn't like that, but for a moment, he couldn't deny the thought inside him. He couldn't deny it. Right after school, he just bought some in-game currency when he ran into Mia eating a popsicle by the roadside. Mia squinted, recognizing him. She hoped he'd keep her walking and eating a secret. He admired Mia, picturesque in the setting sun. Then he noticed she'd won another popsicle on her stick. Seeing her about to throw it away, he quickly grabbed her hand. He immediately let go, blushing, and explained that she'd won. She asked the male lead if he liked the feeling of winning a prize. When she learned that he really did, Mia gave him the plain ice cream. The male lead suppressed his strange urge to lick it. He decided he must keep the plain ice cream at home as a family heirloom. One day, the male lead saw a big orange cat at school. To him, the cat didn't resemble a plastic bag at all. It's truly amazing how Mia could mistake a plastic bag for a cat. He followed the cat to a corner of the school, but he discovered that the class heartthrob, Dedong, was being accused by an unfamiliar girl. The male lead felt awkward and worried about being noticed by them. If only he could turn into a cat, then he could meow and sneak away. At that moment, Mia happened to appear nearby, calling the cat. If he took 2.5 more steps, he'd break into the restricted area. At that moment, the cat followed Mia's call and came to her side. He hoped it would take Mia away from here. Unexpectedly, Mia, oblivious, didn't see it. Only when the ginger cat frantically rubbed and sniffed the scent of her stockings did Mia notice its presence. He was incredibly envious. He wished he were that cat. At this moment, the girl began posing, seemingly catching Mia's attention. Fortunately, she quickly turned back to interact with the ginger cat. The male lead hopes that one day he will have the courage to confess to her. But by then, will Mia be able to understand his feelings? Although what I know about Dedong might be just a small part of you. Even so, I still really like you. Deju suddenly shows up beside them, watching the drama unfold. The two-dimensional Dedong. In a panic, the male lead quickly pulls Mia into his arms. Dedong rejected the girl's confession. He already has someone he likes. The male lead apologizes for taking advantage of the situation. Triple embarrassment. He also knows that he almost ruined someone else's confession. The cat is unexpectedly cute. Turns out he understands things in this area too. He silently made a resolution to try his best too. One day I will express my feelings to Mia. The male protagonist, this little pervert, can't stop looking at the triple. His companion saw that he wanted to conduct off-campus teaching with the trio. Although the male protagonist tried to pretend to be stupid and get through. But everyone knows that Mia may forget to wear glasses. It's safer to have the hero by your side. The male protagonist is indeed worried inside. This time I am going to a place quite far away, in case Mia forgets to wear her glasses. Just thinking about it makes him uneasy. Although he wants to join Mia's group, he's too much of a coward to actually join. However, each group can have at most 6 people. Seeing this, his companion agrees to stick with him, the coward. Meanwhile, Mia keeps looking over at the male lead. Asuka reminds her not to forget her glasses again. 3 layers of confidence, no problem. This time, she has a foolproof plan. She'll put a spare pair of glasses in her bag in advance. Asuka suggested inviting the male lead to join. After all, she's been secretly watching him, and Mia is embarrassed. She admits she really wants to be with him. Little did she know, he's right there next to her. Asuka saw this and directly invited them to join, because Mia is very likely to forget her glasses, and she'll overspend once she travels. Not to mention she often spaces out and gets lost. Having the male lead as her personal bodyguard makes her feel much more at ease. Seeing that the male lead also has the idea of joining forces, Mia is very happy, but she doesn't understand why he wants to join. The male lead confesses that if he can be with Mia, he should be very happy. Mia never expected they would have such a tacit understanding. With the male lead around, she can feel at ease. Before going to bed, Mia placed the spare glasses into her bag. She was looking forward to tomorrow's trip. She also knew that she often forgets things in daydreams. Her mind isn't very sharp. Therefore, she had to be extra careful not to cause trouble for the male lead and everyone else. But the image of the male lead filled her mind, preventing her from falling asleep. The next day, the male lead almost overslept because he was too excited. Then, Mia quickly followed. As expected, she still wasn't wearing her glasses today. She had tripped on the way and accidentally stepped on her glasses, breaking them. Luckily, Mia had prepared a spare pair of glasses last night. Asuka reminded her to be extra careful today. As long as she doesn't get lost or spend money recklessly, everything will be fine. After all, the last time we went out together, Mia said the glasses frames were really cute, so she ended up buying a pair of glasses without prescription that she can't use. After Mia put them on, she realized they were exactly the ones she was wearing. The male lead also noticed something was off with Mia. He had a feeling that today would definitely leave unforgettable memories. Next, Mia tried to remain calm, pretending to be able to see. He's worried about how she'll write the report if she can't see. Mia stumbles. He quickly reaches out to catch her, but accidentally touches her. He's flustered. Then he notices a nearby exhibit. This will make things easier for Mia. Mia realizes she's been found out. She was able to mess up on such an important day. The male lead comforts her, saying it's not that she didn't bring it, but that she brought the wrong one. He really wants to tell Mia not to worry, but he doesn't know what to say to make her feel better. Mia stays silent for 2.5 seconds before thanking him. Then she tells him to go look at something else. The male lead feels dejected, as if he's been dismissed. It must be because his earlier words disgusted Mia. Therefore, she subconsciously kept her distance from Mia. Mia got lost because she wore the wrong glasses and couldn't keep up with the male lead. She later shared her location with the male lead and was found by him. During that time, Mia thought a lot. She worried that if she got lost alone again, she would only cause more trouble for everyone. The male lead reassured her, saying it wouldn't be trouble at all. He noticed Mia staring at him strangely. The male lead worries that he might have said something wrong again. Mia apologizes to him. She hates that every time he's encouraging, she ends up feeling so at ease like she does now. Clearly, he always takes such thoughtful care of her, but all she does is act spoiled toward him. She really feels very sorry about this. The male lead is numb. He doesn't want Mia to care so much about this matter, and he doesn't want to hate himself, because he truly enjoys taking care of Mia. As a result, he also feels this sense of self-loathing. He absolutely doesn't want anyone to know, and it's something he could never bring himself to say. He confesses to Mia that, in fact, he hopes every day that she'll forget to wear her glasses. Why is she so confused? She tries to wipe away her tears and see the male lead clearly. The male lead explains that helping Mia makes him very happy, so she really doesn't need to worry about it. The male lead feels like Mia might hate him, because ever since then, Mia has completely ignored him. After all, who told him to say such dark thoughts? Unexpectedly, Mia suddenly speaks up. She thinks the male lead is still too gentle after all. She places her hand on his to show that she can't believe someone would actually enjoy being a burden, but that also makes her extremely happy. Afterwards, she kept thinking back to what the male lead had said that day. Even if she forgot to wear her glasses, it wouldn't bother him, because helping her made him happy. He even hoped she would forget her glasses every day. Mia considers these acts to be the unique tenderness of the male lead, because she's been thinking about this matter constantly. She naturally forgot to wear her glasses when she left the house today, but in order not to constantly rely on the male lead's tenderness, Mia prepared daily disposable contact lenses. However, they still slide around in her eyes and feel uncomfortable. The male lead hopes she won't mind the strange things he said that day. Mia, however, says she will try not to rely on him too much. Today, she made an effort to put on contact lenses. The male lead felt a little disappointed when he saw this, but he still hoped that Mia wouldn't push herself too hard. Mia couldn't understand the male lead's reaction. Her companions also told her not to push herself too hard. Lately, it seemed like she was particularly sensitive about not wearing glasses. She thought the male lead would definitely be willing to help Mia. At that moment, Asuka's phone received a message. The person who sent the message is Basaka, a former companion. Asuka's face turned red, and she temporarily left. Her friends said it was bad news. Asuka must like Basaka. From the way she acted, it's definitely a special kind of liking. What does special mean, though? Could it be that she wants to become romantically involved with him? But she doesn't really understand this kind of thing. She then ran into him in the hallway. He asked her about her contact lenses. Compared to the triple confession, his help made her happier. She noticed his expression. Then, she suddenly stood on tiptoe and gave him a close-up. She confirmed that he looked happy. Simply because he helped her while she wasn't wearing her glasses. And this expression felt strangely familiar to her. Nia suddenly realized. At this moment, he was just like Ninja Wexiang from before. Immediately, she shyly turned his head and fled. She suspected that she was someone special to the male lead. If that's true, she would be very happy. This girl is really amazing. Ever since discovering that the male lead likes her, she becomes obsessed with getting closer to see the male lead's face every day. If she doesn't see him for a day, she feels uneasy. She even hopes that one day, the male lead will help her tie her hair every day. If they don't get married, it would be hard to justify. One day, she forgets to wear her glasses to school again. The male lead notices that she's been in a good mood lately, and every day, she suddenly gets close to look at his face. After looking, she quickly turns and runs away. Rangwa stepped forward to watch. Were they just kissing? The male lead was confused. So this is how they look to outsiders. He worried that such a strange misunderstanding would cause trouble for Mia. Mia was curious why he kept making that sound. He was too embarrassed to tell the truth. In order to avoid letting Mia see him like this, he could only lie and say he had a cold. Unexpectedly, Mia immediately took out a mask she always carried with her. But even though she's sick with a cold, she keeps staring at him. The male lead is completely overwhelmed by her gaze. Rangu's gossip-loving soul is burning with excitement. She pesters the male lead, staying on the front lines of the gossip. This is her first time witnessing a romantic scene in person, and she's really concerned whether they've kissed. Mia is jealous because the male lead has barely spoken to her today, so she intentionally slips while stepping on a basketball. She successfully attracted the male lead's attention. Her best friend helped her by getting the male lead to send her to the infirmary. The male lead was happy, but he was also very concerned about avoiding any new misunderstandings. Just dealing with this alone was already enough for him to worry. The male lead suggested going back to continue the class. Nia, however, still wanted to chat with him more. She asked him what he usually does on weekends. She said that besides doing things and reading books, she goes to the arcade to play games. Nia was envious beyond measure. It's just because her father doesn't allow her to go play games alone. The male lead didn't understand and asked why she was saying this. Nia was shy, she just wanted to talk to him more. Because Rangwa had been constantly pestering the male lead, she and the male lead hadn't had much chance to talk. The male lead reflected on himself, because he cared too much about Rangwa's misunderstandings. He seemed to have really neglected Nia. Nia hopes that on the days she doesn't wear her glasses, she can get a close look at the male lead's face. She's been thinking about it for a long time, even just once a day would be nice. The male lead is stunned, but compared to not being able to see, perhaps seeing his face will make her feel more at ease. Seeing the male lead hasn't responded, Nia thought he didn't want to. The male lead quickly denied it, saying he didn't mind. If she wanted to watch, she could watch as long as she wanted. That said, once Mia started watching, she couldn't stop. Although the male lead felt nervous, his palms sweating, seeing Mia so happy made him feel at ease. He thought it was all worth it. That day, the male lead looked at Mia in a panic, because her hair was caught in the cabinet. Unexpectedly, Mia was about to use brute force to pull it out. When that didn't work, she even wanted to use scissors. The male lead wanted to do it himself. When it came down to it, he just wanted to minimize the damage as much as possible. Mia didn't care at all. She used to cut her hair as soon as it grew long. It was only because everyone said long hair looked good on her that she deliberately let it grow out. Because everyone really liked her long hair, she asked the male lead if he liked it. Little did she know, the male lead, being too nervous, couldn't hear what she was saying at all. One day, while Mia was tying her hair in the classroom, the hair tie unexpectedly came off. The male lead steps forward to help pick it up. Mia directly asks him to tie her hair. Even though the male lead says he's never tried before, Mia doesn't mind. After all, everything is worth a challenge. The male lead thinks Mia is right, so he starts carefully helping her style her hair. He's curious if Mia ties her hair by herself every day, though she mostly does it herself, but sometimes her mom helps her. Afterwards, Mia was very pleased with the male lead's skill. She wished the male lead could help her with her hair every day, but not at school. The male lead was a bit confused, not understanding what she meant. The school anniversary was coming up, and everyone was preparing. Mia suddenly found the male lead and wanted to ask for help, but he told her to wash her hands first. There were even traces of ink on her face. After cleaning it up, she asked the male lead if he was tired. She asked if he wanted to rest for a while. The male lead planned to finish the task at hand first before resting. Meanwhile, Mia stayed by his side, watching him. To help him rest as soon as possible, Mia took the initiative to help. But since she couldn't see, it was very difficult for her to apply the glue. By the time she was pasting, the water had already dried. The male lead is such a fool. He thought she just wanted something to do, so he suggested they divide the tasks. He would apply the glue, and Mia would handle the pasting. Unexpectedly, the male lead handed the wrong item, and the glue ended up on Mia's hand. The male lead noticed that Rangu was still eating melon seeds nearby, so he suggested that Mia could join them and help out. but Mia seemed hesitant and unwilling to leave. The male lead then realized that she might not be looking for trouble. Mia shyly told him to let her know when he was done and wanted to rest. After saying that, she jogged over to join in. The male lead suddenly realized that Mia might want to rest with him, but then he thought he might be overthinking it. Maybe Mia was just gentle by nature and simply wanted to rest. However, when he went out to get the glue, Mia immediately followed him out. She wants to go with the male lead. When she finds the art prep room empty, Mia quickly pulls the male lead into the room. The male lead is flustered in the dark, but Mia wants to make up for not having seen his face today, so she takes the opportunity to look at him more. The male lead is shy, which is fine, but isn't this place a bit too sensitive? He wanted to change locations but was stopped by Mia. This kind of embarrassing thing is better done where no one's around. The protagonist finally understood why Mia kept telling him to rest. He was worried that if someone saw them, it would lead to strange misunderstandings, but he was the only one feeling sensitive and embarrassed. So, the protagonist gave up resisting and let Mia watch. While being watched, the protagonist didn't dare look Mitsuba in the eye. Mia's various reactions. He wondered if she also had some special feelings for himself. The male lead couldn't take being stared at and had to end it early. He really cares about what he means to Mia. By the time they got back to the classroom, the rain had stopped. The male lead didn't realize his face was covered in dirt. Meanwhile, Mia's classmates noticed her hands were covered in dirt too. The male lead was guilty, but it's definitely not what everyone thinks. The male lead has an amazing mom. In order to make him more attractive to girls, not only did his mom make the male lead dye his hair, but she also pushed him to get his ears pierced early. The male lead refused. He didn't want to. Getting his ears pierced just didn't suit him. He only dyed his hair because his mom said it would look good, but it ended up not suiting him at all. His mom was very encouraging, saying it looked great, but he just wasn't confident enough in himself. In short, the male lead refuses to listen to his mom. He thinks the person who suits dressing up should be someone like Mia, who is cheerful and fun-loving, or someone like Dedong, the class heartthrob. Earrings feel completely out of place for him. They would just make him collapse to the ground. Unexpectedly, he finds Mia lying on the ground at that moment. It turns out Mia was looking for something. The male lead unexpectedly finds something resembling an earring. He wonders if Mia might have pierced her ears. But he's never seen Mia wear earrings. Just the thought of her wearing earrings gives him a strange feeling. But up close, he doesn't see anything on her ears. Mia suddenly turns her head and notices the male lead staring at her. The male lead, feeling guilty, quickly avoids making eye contact with her. He reflected that he shouldn't have overreacted. It's not uncommon for girls to get their ears pierced. Unexpectedly, Mia suddenly showed him her earring. The male lead was stunned for 2.5 seconds before realizing he'd been tricked. It turned out to be just a bead string, and she hadn't pierced her ears. She was going to use the beads as eyes for the flat-headed pin, because it would be cuter with eyes. The male lead really liked how Mia put thought into everything. Only then will she shine even brighter. And when he was asked to make something he liked out of cotton, he could only make a ball to get by. He, such a hollow and boring person, definitely isn't suited for getting ear piercings or dyeing his hair. Curious about whether ear piercings are done with a needle, the male lead panicked and told her to be careful. She thinks wearing earrings is really cute, but getting an ear piercing is really scary. The male lead talks about his unreliable mom, who also wants him to get an ear piercing, but he's not sure if it's right for him. Mia suddenly leaned forward to take a look. With her blind eyes, she thought it looked kind of cool, but since she couldn't see clearly, she wasn't sure. The male lead starts to waver on whether to get an ear piercing. One sentence from Mia makes him feel like he can do anything. The school anniversary is coming up, and Asuka wants to finish preparing today, but the Mia family has a 6 p.m. curfew. If she breaks curfew, not only will her parents be angry, but even worse, there will be no hot chocolate the next morning. Asuka asked those who can stay until 7 p.m. to help. Seeing the male protagonist raise his hand, Rangu clung to him again, curious if he and Mia had kissed. Mia, jealous, stepped in to interrupt. She's staying to help out again today. The male lead wonders why Mia would even lie to stay. Could it be because she wants to be with him? He slaps himself. How could he be more important than upsetting her parents and hot cocoa? He must be getting carried away. Samia tactfully gives them some space, but being out late for the first time makes Mia nervous. It took half an hour to set up just 3 displays. The male lead accidentally picked up Mia's phone. It was full of missed calls and messages from his future mother-in-law. Mia then also noticed her mother's messages, so she had to go home immediately. Seeing this, the male lead decided to follow her. At this moment, Mia was flustered. She couldn't find her shoe cabinet at all, so she had to walk home in my gym shoes. He wanted to give Mia his shoes. He fondly remembered the time Mia accidentally wore his shoes, but he was following her like a creep. Halfway there, he saw Mia crying. He followed her all the way home, but chickened out and decided to give them to her tomorrow. The thought of not having hot cocoa, Mia will definitely be in no mood tomorrow. At this moment, facing her mother's stern questioning, Mia can only respond. Unexpectedly, the male lead turns back again. He falsely claims that his shoes are the same style as Mia's. So, he accidentally wore the wrong pair. Is Mia late coming home because she couldn't find her shoes? Having said that, he leaves the shoes behind, hiding his contribution in merit. Mom saw this and decided not to press further. Afterward, the male lead was worried that suddenly showing up might cause her trouble, but he really hoped to see the energetic Nia tomorrow. The male lead was surprised that Nia wore glasses today, although she almost forgot them, because she took them off while drinking hot cocoa. The male lead was relieved that Nia seemed energetic. That's great. It's really great that she didn't think he was a stalker. Recently, a claw machine was placed in the bathhouse. Everyone in Sanchong likes it, so they spent quite a bit of pocket money. The male protagonist unexpectedly finds the diary that Sanchong wrote very interesting. She also wants a yellow thread. Since it was nighttime, her dad accompanied her to buy it. Also, she came home after curfew recently. Although her mom didn't allow her to drink hot cocoa the next day, her dad agreed to let her have some. The male lead is extremely grateful to his future father-in-law. He's really reliable. The exhibit created by Nia for the school anniversary is also very cute. The yellow thread Nia bought is for stitching the exhibit. Nia, who has new ideas every day, must be enjoying herself, so she was really looking forward to the school anniversary. Later, the male lead also noticed that Nia couldn't take her eyes off his work. He feels embarrassed because what he made is just a plain, unremarkable ball. He worries Mia will find out that he lacks depth, but Mia was watching with great interest. Even more terrifying, she was wearing glasses today. The male lead's insecurities were something she found worth savoring. During the presentation, Mia suddenly left her seat. The male lead assumed she was going to the restroom, so he followed her, but Mia, who was nearby, noticed him. Guilty, the male lead wondered what she was doing there. Then the two sat side by side, enjoying the sunlight. Mia said he had read the small diary he wrote. His choice of words was very elegant and she liked it very much. The male protagonist also confessed that he had read Nia's diary. It was very interesting and he liked it very much. Nia couldn't help but suddenly turn the male protagonist's face to her side. The male protagonist is shy in public. It would be bad if someone sees it. Besides, she obviously wore glasses today. It shouldn't need to be this close. Triple reflection. I was too willful. She feels like she's been really happy every day recently. That's why she's gotten a bit carried away. The male lead wants to know why she wants to see her own face so much. Because it's not something worth carefully admiring. But he always feels at ease only after looking at it. She promises she'll occasionally resist this impulse in the future not to look at his face. The male lead doesn't agree, asking her not to force herself to endure. As long as she wants to look, she can anytime. But the real reason is that he wants to look too. The male lead feels embarrassed but doesn't dare to say it directly. Nia realizes his thoughts and agrees. Nia has felt for a long time that the male lead is like her father. She's always so gentle with her. That's why she can't help but act cute with the male lead. The male lead is confused. I treat you like my wife, but you treat me like your father? She has a strong desire to share everything. She showed the male lead her childhood photos. And even the omelette rice she made herself. But the male lead thought the pattern on it was a hand. Nia was immediately struck hard, because it was a maple leaf design. And the male lead's name is Komura. He just didn't realize it. Later in the evening, after her mother made her an omelette rice, he tried to recreate the same design himself, but his mother noticed the meaning behind it. The male lead immediately became extremely embarrassed. He wrote his dreams on his wish list. Going to school, but afraid something might go wrong, he immediately wanted to erase it. Just then, Nia happened to walk by, and saw this wish list. The situation became quite awkward. The male lead didn't know how to explain it at this point, but Nia returned to her seat, seeming to sulk. Do I even need to ask? Of course, she was angry. During home economics class, Nia and the handsome Azuma were placed in the same group. This made the main character quite unhappy. He was extremely envious because everyone in that group got to eat the cookies made by the goddess, and they seemed to be very close. Nia wanted to make them look like coins, like the ones at the arcade. In response, Dong taught her the technique. To be honest, the reaction was really slow. It took her 2.5 seconds to react. I was supposed to give it to him. Look at them, they look so happy. Chasing a coin. Are you okay? After school, the two of them even greeted each other. This is definitely bad news for the male lead. He was very afraid that Mia would be taken away by another guy. But just then, a girl asked what they had been talking about. Although the male lead didn't want to hear it, Mia still spoke up. She thought Dong was very mature. What a waste of time to listen to this. The male lead was about to break down if he kept listening. So, she quickly ran away. But he never expected that Mia would catch up to her. She even gave the cookie she made to Komura. But before he could take a bite, her sudden stammering made the atmosphere very awkward. He could only say thank you. When he got home that day, he found a childhood photo of her. But something felt different. All of them are ugly photos. However, the next day, he accidentally brought the photos to school. When the classmates saw them, they immediately exploded in excitement. But when Mia looked at them, she actually started laughing. This is really subtle. After school, the two of them went to the park together. Nia wanted to see him do a hanging iron cross on the horizontal bar, but the male lead is totally useless. But since the goddess is watching, Even if he can't, he has to today. To celebrate, Mia even took a photo with the male lead. I'm truly happy for him. Mia also wants to try. This scene. The male lead was so embarrassed he could barely watch. Although she's wearing safety shorts, the male lead's nosebleed is very honest. What's wrong with your nose? Ever since Mia put on new glasses, the male lead has become even more smitten. But these glasses don't even have a prescription. Mia just bought them because they look good. However, she let the male lead try them on as well. Trying it out would result in death, because Mia couldn't see clearly. She planned to have the male lead take a selfie and show it to her, but when she just took out her glasses case, it surprisingly already had her glasses inside. The male lead couldn't stop laughing. During class, when Mia was leaning down to read, the male lead noticed her soft hair. He hurriedly closed his eyes and started enjoying it. And during break time, a classmate next to him even helped Mia tie her hair. It was really cute. The male protagonist couldn't help but sneak a few more glances. During swimming class, Komura also desperately tried to close his eyes, because Mia's swimsuit was just too tempting. And her timid expression. The male lead's tempted to commit a crime just looking at her, but at lunch, he tried to tell Mia. She had a grain of rice in her hair, but when Mitsumi pulled on her hair, her twin tails disappeared. Her wet hair would soak the book, though, so he had to tie her twin tails back up. The two of them would walk home together every day after school. However, this time they separated. The male lead then heard greetings from another man. Was he trying to approach Mia? The male lead instantly realized something was wrong. What if Mia couldn't see and took the initiative to get close? But in reality, Mia was very careful. He really couldn't remember. The situation was somewhat awkward. The next day, the male lead learned about all of this. He also felt confused. The time he spent with Mia was when he forgot his glasses. Would Mia forget about him then? And today just happened to be the last day of the semester. After the exam, they had agreed to go home together. The atmosphere just felt a bit off. The male lead took Mia to the park. Mia originally wanted to play on the horizontal bar, but when she looked down to check, she realized she wasn't wearing safety shorts. She couldn't play on the swings either, so they were forced to try the slide instead. But the space was very narrow when the two of them squeezed in. Narrow, and that's just right. After all, it's convenient for the task. After a long time of not seeing the male lead's face, Mia suddenly became interested. After the warmth faded, he sent something to the male lead. It was a photo, a memory of the two of them. The past is gone. But just as Mia was about to leave, the male lead grabbed his hand. Mia smiled brightly. She thought back to her childhood. The person from before always liked to bully her. He would always take her glasses and tease him. The male lead was also very gentle as a child. Perhaps, from that time, they started to like each other. But, well, because I often forget. So I hope my future husband will be a gentle person like you. Goodbye.